Hey everybody, welcome to Inside Quest. We are the Olympic trials for your mind. Our goal is to bring on truly amazing people who can provide world-class training for your brain. And if you're looking to build a gold medal intellect, there is no better guest than the man joining us today. When he was born, the doctors literally said that he would never walk, but he joins us today as one of the fastest men alive. That's absolutely incredible. A bilateral below-the-knee amputee, he has overcome just an absurd amount of adversity on his road to gold. Believing that the only real disability in life is a bad attitude, this world record-setting runner is proving to everyone that the only thing that can possibly hold you back is your own mind. Despite being awash in incredibly valid excuses for why he should just be able to sit back on the couch and not even try, this man makes exactly zero excuses and buries the competition under an avalanche of hard work and carefully cultivated self-belief. Not satisfied with the bronze, silver, or gold medals he has already won in international Paralympic competitions, he has his sights fixed on the 2016 able-bodied Olympics in Rio. His accomplishments would be breathtaking from anybody, but the fact that he has done it despite being a double amputee from birth has captured the imagination of some of the most influential people and companies in the world. Nike and Oakley sponsored him. A successful entrepreneur helped him get the futuristic running blades that allow him to compete. The famous Olympian Al Joyner agreed to coach him. He's been featured on the Queen Latifah show and the Arsenio Hall show. Bo Jackson has been an informal mentor for years. He carried the Oakland flag in a Raiders game and was the honorary race official in the Daytona 500. And to top it all off, he's been on the Wheaties box, an honor reserved for the greatest athletes of a generation. And why? Because he's a living reminder of the true depths of human potential. Put simply, what this man has done gives us the chills and inspires us to be more. Please help me in welcoming the multi-medal winning Paralympian who is fighting to become the first American Paralympian to qualify for the Olympics, one of the fastest men alive, full stop. The American Blade Runner, Blake Leeper. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Dude, thanks for having me. That was an amazing intro. I'm gonna take you everywhere I go.
I would do that in a heartbeat, dude. What you do to people, the way that you inspire them and move them is absolutely incredible. There's something about excuses that drive me nuts.
Right.
And so when I encounter people that don't make them, it's so moving.
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, I've been blessed. You know, you look at my situation and a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you've been born without legs. How terrible that might be, and the things that you endured as a kid. And yeah, I had some bad times. I dealt with some insecurity issues as a child, like questioning, why am I going through this? You know, I look around and I leave the house and my brother has legs and, you know, my mother has legs. Everybody around me is not going through this. And so as a kid, I wondered, like, why me, right? Why do I have to go through this? But I had to make a decision. I have to accept the fact that I'm missing my legs. And, you know, once you accept, you know, you come to a level of acceptance, you kind of move forward. And you kind of ask yourself, okay, what am I going to do with this now? And all the things that I've been through in my life, instead of questioning why me, you know, I question, well, why not me, right? I'm meant for this. Well, why not me? I'm strong enough for this. Why not me? I'm smart enough for this. I'm a true believer that everything that we go through in our lives is for a reason, point blank period. The good, the bad, and the ugly. And all the bad and the ugly is really preparing us for our biggest mission. You know, all the times that I got laughed at, pointed at, picked last, I fell down, my leg falls off, it was just preparing me for this life that I couldn't even imagine back then. And I'm just thankful, man, because at the end of the day, it could be way worse. I can honestly look at you and tell you where the places I've been able to travel, the people I've been able to see, the kids that I've been able to meet. Yes, I'm missing my legs. You know, yes, I have 2 disabilities, but I have 1,000 other abilities that make me who I am as a person. So I want to go out there, no excuses, and show the world what you can do with the talents that you have. Legs or no legs. And if that causes me to become one of the fastest runners in the world, let's strap up and let's do it, man. Let's put the legs on and let's do it. just feel like I'm out here trying to change mindsets, perceptions, perspectives. What people thought I can do or cannot do, I want to change that. I want to show the world what you can do with what you have.
It's really powerful because it's showing, I mean, I'm sure you know, the reason that you resonate so well with people is they see in you themselves.
Yeah.
Right? They see in you all the things that they've struggled with and allowed to take them down, and you give them hope that they could have reacted differently.
Yeah.
I want to go back to something you said, and I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, and I hope you understand I do it truly because I think you're selling yourself short.
Yeah.
And I think that hopefully you hear how much respect I have for you and why I'm disagreeing. So you say that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely false.
Okay.
I think it's completely random. But what meaning you make of it will determine the course of your life.
Yes.
And the meaning that you have made of what's happened and the reaction, the way that you said, because I've followed your story very closely, and you said, I looked at my brother, I looked at Bo Jackson.
Right.
Come back from his injury, right? So here's my brother, he can do it. If he can do it, I want to do it better. If Bo can do it, I can do it. I want to do it better. I want to be the best in the world.
Right.
You say, I don't fight this hard to be second or third.
Right.
I fight this hard to be the best. That's what makes you you. That's why people are so drawn to you. That's why, like, when people say, I think it was Bob Lorsch that said, you just can't not like Blake. And I get that, right? Like, I get that because you've done something actively, right? You've done something actively with the hand that you were dealt. Tell people that quote you have about life is 10%.
Yeah, you know, my favorite quote is from Coach Lou Holtz. He said, life is 10% of what you're dealt with and 90% on how you deal with it. And I agree with what you said. Like, what you say is like, you know, a lot of people deal with our 10% and we forget it's only 10%. You know what I mean? My 10% are my legs. I miss my legs. I can't change that. When I go to bed, I miss my legs. When I wake up, guess what? I ain't gonna have no legs, right? You know, when I go out there to the track, oh no, I ain't got no legs, right? If I set every morning, right? Every single morning, if I start my day and started complaining about how bad my life is or how crap things ain't working and how it sucks to be missing legs, and dude, I would be sitting there drinking my cup of coffee and complaining till the sun goes down, right? But that's just my 10%. I still have 90% to show the world what I truly can do. I still have 90% to put a smile on my face, walk out the door with my legs, and go and take on whatever life throws at me. But we as humans sometimes get caught up in what really doesn't matter, right? When you can look at yourself in the mirror, right, and say, these are my flaws and all. This is who I am. That's when you start taking control of your life. When you can laugh at yourself, right? And you can say, you know what? Yeah, I am missing my legs. You know what? I am short. I am tall. I am this. I am that. And accept that, because it's only 10% of who we are. But you still have 90% to show the world what you truly can do. And if you can grasp onto that concept, man, nothing can stop you. You know, and I love the fact that, you know, it's not, you know, one of my favorite quotes from Rocky is like, it's not how hard you can hit, right? It's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward, right? It's how hard you can take hits and sometimes fall down and keep pushing forward through the hard times and the good and the bad. I just look at my life and, you know, the day I was born, the doctor said I would never walk. You know, to be born missing one leg, congenitally, everything else normal is 1 in a million, right? To be born missing 2 legs is unheard of, right? The day I was born, the doctor's like, you gotta go to room 103, you ain't gonna believe this, right? Like, they didn't know what to do, right? So statistically, all right, I shouldn't be here right now. If you look at the facts and the numbers, right, the odds, right, I shouldn't be running. I shouldn't be competing. I shouldn't be winning medals. But we're not going off facts, right? We're going off hard work. We're going off determination. We're going off willpower. And when you set your life and trying to break into a barrier that nobody's has ever broken into, you can't go off the numbers. Because I'm trying to do something nobody has ever done before. So I can't look back and compare myself to anybody. I just got to look forward. And with that type of mindset, the only way you know you're doing enough if you give it all you got. The only way I know that I'm pushing forward, you know, I can't go back and compare it to this guy, that guy. I got to leave the track hurting. I gotta finish the workout, basically almost throwing up. Right, I gotta leave the track to the point where I gotta pop my legs off and crawl to my car. Right, I gotta put them back on to drive, but still I gotta crawl to my car. But you gotta set your own boundaries, right? My biggest disability isn't the fact that I'm missing my legs. My biggest disability is the fact what people think I cannot do, the fact that I'm missing my legs. So I've built my whole life proving to people what I can do. I've been building my whole life proving that just because I'm missing my legs doesn't define who I am, right? Just because I'm missing my legs doesn't mean I can't be the fastest man in the world. Who told me I couldn't? I mean, I heard it a lot, but who said, right? I'm setting these boundaries, and not only for me, but for the kids that's growing up. There's a kid out there with a disability, you know, or going through something internally, externally.
What made you realize that you didn't have to listen? When people told you, I mean, when a doctor tells you you're never gonna walk, like that's what they know, right?
Right.
So at what point, because in the beginning woe is me, you felt sorry for yourself.
Right.
I'm sure you bought into some of that stuff.
Of course.
So what happened that allowed you to one day say, no, I don't accept that?
Yeah, it was weird. I can remember I played sports, right? I love playing sports growing up, and right before, you know, I was 4, 5, 6, 7, my dad coached me. You know what I mean? He wanted to protect his son, missing his legs. He wanted to make sure he gets a fair chance, because you know the community was still kind of like, how do we react to this? You know, I'm running down the court, my leg pops off. You know what I mean? That they want to call timeout. You know what I mean? And stop the whole game. And my dad would have to be there, like, no, let him go. He's going to go pick his leg up and keep going.
Right.
But it got to a point where my dad's not the most athletic guy in the world. I love him to death, but you know, sports is not really his thing. So he knew I was on a very competitive level. We're thinking about travel basketball teams, all-star teams. I'm one of the best kids in my age group in the area, and he knew that he had to get an outside coach to help me take me and my teammates to the next level. And he pulled me to the side, you know, maybe a day before the first practice, and he said, Blake, look, I can't coach you no more. Because my dad pushed me. You know what I mean? No, he didn't feel sorry for me at all because he knew what I can do. And that was the most important part, having him in my life. You know, he pushed. My family members always pushed me. They didn't feel sorry for my legs. So he pulled me to the side and he was like, Blake, you know, I can't coach you no more. Right? I'm going to have to let this new guy coach you. He knows you, but there might be times where he's going to let you sit to the sideline. There might be times he might feel sorry for you, and he's going to ask you not to run that extra lap or the extra suicide. I was 9 years old, right? And I'm like, what are you talking about, Dad? Like, I'm just as normal as the other kids. And I'm not really comprehending that I'm different, right? I'm not really comprehending that, you know, people feel sorry for me. You know, I'm a little kid. And lo and behold, that next week on that first practice, you know, we go through the practice, everything's normal, but we get to running the suicides at the end. And we're running the suicide, running the second suicide, everybody's getting tired. And he stopped. He said, Blake, called me out in front of everybody, right? Blake, you don't have to run this last one. And I looked around and I was like, first like, why I ain't gotta run the last one, right? I don't get it. But I thought back quick to what my father told me, you know what I mean? Days before, it's like they're gonna feel sorry for you, right? And when they do feel sorry for you, you don't take the easy way out. You push forward. And as soon as the coach wanted to give me that easy way out, I thought back quick and said, I can't do this. No, I'm gonna finish just like everybody else. I'm gonna run just as hard as everybody else. Because if I don't, I won't be able to get nothing done in life. I'm always gonna take the easy way out. And what kind of character building is that? If you're always taking the easy road, right? What kind of life skills are you building if you're always quitting first or you're always sitting down first, right? I had to push for it, even though it hurt. And even though I was last on most of the runs, you know what I mean? That's probably the worst thing ever. When you're running as hard as you can and you're still last, right? But it's about finishing it. You know what I mean? That was more powerful for me. It's the fact that I'm starting something and I'm finishing it. You know, I'm not giving up. It's like a never give up mentality in all aspects. And it's something I had at a young age. It's something I was able to build growing up. And it's something that's been kind of powerful for me now and as an adult, and the goals that I'm trying to accomplish now.
I read a story about you. It was very similar to the story you just told, but I think you were a little bit older. And the coach said something, oh yeah, you can stop because your leg came off or something. And the exact quote, I'm going to get really close, but it's a
Yeah.
paraphrase, was, "No, sir, you're not going to do that," meaning make it easier. "If anything, you're going to make it harder for me." And the guy was like, "What?"
Yeah.
But that mentality of, I'm not going to get where I want to go if you bring me up to even, right?
Right.
That won't work. I've got to go farther. I've got to go harder. I've got to do more. And the willingness to do that, to set yourself up for what you want, is pretty incredible. So going back to what you said, your favorite quote is from Rocky. It's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you can be hit and still move forward. Why are you able to take such a hard hit?
It goes back from the time I was born. Of course, my mother, my brother, my father, my grandparents, right? The mindset that they instilled in me, and the people that was surrounded. You know, I was able to surround myself with my friends. You know what I mean?
Let's talk about that mindset. So I know your parents very early said, we're not going to treat him any differently.
Yeah. No excuses, right? No excuses. I can remember one time, right? To put you in the mindset of my parents, right? I think I was in maybe elementary school, maybe going into middle school, and I come home, right, with my report card, right? And I get all C's on my report card, right? And so I show my dad the report card, my mom, and it's like, "But you have all C's." I'm like, "Yeah, C's are cool. It means you're average, right? I'm average. I'm an average kid, right? I'm a normal average kid." And it's like, "Okay, you're average, huh?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, well, we can go get you some average clothes, right?" And you know, I knew they was kind of, you know what I mean, trying to get me. I'm like, average clothes, so what? Let's go to Walmart. Let's go get them. I don't care, right? I wasn't trying to break, right? And they was like, "Okay, it don't bother you? Okay, well, if that's the case, then we can go get you some average legs," all right? And once they said that, I was like, oh crap. I knew if I had average legs, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I'm doing.
Right.
I knew quick if I had average legs, you know what I mean, or below par legs, that C+ legs, I wouldn't be able to run, jump, or play. So it put it in perspective for me that I cannot live an average life. Because if I live a mediocre average life, I won't be able to do half the things I want to get done. And so it's not only in the classroom, but that's on the track, that's with my morals, that's everything that I do. I have to be above average if I just want to live a normal life, right? If I just want to live an average life, right? It goes back to complaining and being like, man, it's no fair I have to work twice as hard just to be in the pack. It's not fair I have to work twice as hard. But life isn't fair.
How were you able to accept that? So you say you do an amazing Nike video, by the way. You guys need to watch this video. It's so inspiring. It's him in a gym, and you get to see all the things you do easily that he has to bust his fucking ass for. So cool. I have the chills just thinking about it. So cool.
Man.
But in that video, you show such a willingness to push and get past the fact that life isn't fair. And you're talking about stepping up on the box, right? And you're like, yeah, look, anybody with two legs, like this is so easy. But for me, I really have to practice the balance and get my leg up. And I just realized life isn't fair. There's two things you've said already where it is, Blake, the moment you can transfer in your mind to somebody else, it will change their life. And those two things are, you respond to adversity by saying, I don't accept that, right? Like, I'm not going to make excuses.
Yeah.
That's so transformative already, because most people take their excuse, thank you very much, they go home.
Right.
And then two, that you accept that life isn't fair, and in some ways, use that to your advantage.
Yes, you have to. You know what I mean? When you accept the fact life isn't fair and you don't have excuses, because this is what happens. When you have excuses, it means you're pointing fingers, right? It's their fault, or it's his fault, it's her fault, it's life, you know what I mean? It's people's fault, right? And when you're pointing fingers, you're losing your power.
Who's teaching you all this stuff? It's so, like, it's so powerful. Like, life is a test, yes?
It is, it's
Agreed?
a test. Everything.
Hardship is a test. Suffering is a test.
Yes, it's a test.
Most people break.
Yeah.
Most people are diminished by hardship. Most people are diminished by the test.
Yeah.
But among us, there are people like you who are created from the hardship.
Yeah.
But I want to know so desperately why? Why you?
And that's the question, and I'm saying I ask myself, but you know,
So give me the tricks. What do you do to your mind? You're running, you're about to vomit.
Right.
And you do another rep. Like, what are you doing?
I love that, right?
But what are you telling yourself in your mind at that moment?
I tell myself keep that mind over matter, right? It's the mind. It's not what we go through. We perceive things, right? I'm perceiving the workout to being hard. I'm perceiving my body hurting and breaking down. And so you have to go into this mode to where your mind takes over your body, right? And your body is done and it's shutting down and it can't go anymore. You go to trick. You got to trick yourself. Man, we've already done 5 of them. What's one more, right? And your body's like, dude, do you not feel how we feeling right now? Like, this is all going through my head during the workout, right? Mind you, I'm talking to myself here, right? And you're like, okay, how about this? We'll just get going. We'll just get started. Let's focus on the first 7 steps, right? Let's focus on the first 10 steps. Let's just get going. And let's finish the race. Let's never quit, never stop. Then you go into the mindset to where we can walk away and who's working as hard as you, right? That's the greatest feeling in the world. That's what people don't realize. You have the medals, right? You have the world records. And you know, we have these TV shows where it's amazing and you know, the fans and the followers, but that's great. I love that, you know what I mean? But what makes me the greatest feeling in the world, and I feel like what makes me as a person, is when I'm on that last rep of that 300. And I gotta convince my body where it feels like I cannot go any further, right? To go a little bit harder. And so when I do that, I conquered that moment, right? I challenged it and I defeated it in that moment. And nobody can take that away from me. Like I fought, right? Nobody really sees that. I was having an internal battle with myself, with my mind and my body, when my body was telling me I can't, right? I can't do this, I can't do that. I heard that my whole life. And when I can go on the track and defeat and have that internal war inside, if I can beat that, if I can fight that, whatever's thrown at me, I'm gonna fight. I'm a fighter. You know what I mean? That's why I love running. That's why I love pushing the limits, right? I love being in uncomfortable positions, right? Because that's when you find out what your talents are, what you're good at, what you're bad at, what makes you feel uncomfortable, all your forms of fear, right? When it comes to fear, I was talking to one of my mentors and he broke it down to me. He said, you have 2 people, this is how they respond to fear. They forget everything, right, and run. F-E-A-R, forget everything and run, right? He said, you want to be the type of person, an individual, when you see fear, when you have fear, you face everything and rise. And that's the mindset I want to have. Every time I'm afraid of something or something scares me, I want to face it head on. I want to go toe to toe with it, right? And whether I win or lose, 'cause sometimes you're going to lose, right? I can walk away and say, you know what, this is what I learned about it. But if we're always living our lives as scared and afraid to push the limits, right? And that's the thing. If I was to wake up and like, you know, I'm just gonna sit in my wheelchair today. I'm gonna sit on the couch, right? I'm just gonna collect a check, you know what I mean? From the government, I'm not gonna push. I'm not only have to put on my legs. Society will be okay with that, right?
Society expects it.
Expects that, right? And even though I'm not bothering nobody, right? I'm not dying, but dude, I'm not living. I'm not living if I do that. And the time is now. We dealt with a lot of things, right? We dealt with racism, we dealt with sexism, you know what I mean? The ADA Act, we're facing disability. The time is now. We gotta look at ourselves and say no excuses, right? We all deal with demons. Everybody does, right? Everybody has problems, right? But when you can conquer those problems and say, I have a problem, I'm gonna face it and rise, right? Face it all. Then that's when you can get things done. Who has control over you? Who can stop you, right? And every day that I wake up, I say I want to be one of the fastest men in the world, and I have no legs. Some people laugh, some people joke, some people don't even believe me. I can look in their face like, dude, I'm trying to qualify for the Olympics. They're like, all right, cool, sure. This guy, right? He's on something right here, right? But I'm dead serious. And even though if they don't see it, I see it, right? I manifest my own destiny, right?
God damn. That's a statement right there.
You know what I mean? It's about manifestation, dude. You put that out there in the world. That's what people, and that's the beautiful part about it, right? Every day that I wake up, right, I believe that I'm going to walk. Point blank period. I believe that I'm going to go out there and run. I manifest that out there into the world. I expect that, right? I put that out there every single day. I'm gonna walk, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. So that's out there in the world, right? You can't take that back. It's out there. So what's gonna happen once it's out there, you're gonna start conforming and doing things to figure out how I'm gonna walk, how am I gonna run. I believe that I can be one of the fastest men in the world. So I'm gonna start conforming to that. So I'm in those 300 workouts. I already put that out there that I'm gonna be the fastest man in the world.
Yeah, talk about that. Right before we came out here, you said that you're now training side by side with truly legs, no legs, the fastest human beings on the planet.
Man, they're awesome, dude. You know, I'm training up at UCLA track 4 days a week. You know, I'm working with Al Jordan down in San Diego, but up here in LA, I'm working with Willie Galt. You know, Willie Galt is Willie.
Another name, Jesus, man. The people you've got around you are
it's
incredible.
Crazy. Oh my goodness, you know what I mean? And so the training group, I mean, it's amazing. You got, you know, some of the Saudi Arabia's national records, you know what I mean? Got, you know, my man Youssef and Gil, all these amazing guys, men and women, you know what I mean? Carmelita, you know, English, all these amazing people, right? They have legs, right? And these guys run 44 seconds in the 400, you know, repeats in the 200, just crazy things. And Willie, you know, they'll run their workout, then I go do mine. He said, all right, you see what you got to do? They go do it. What? Right? But that's what I love about it, right? You got to set that bar so high, and that's what I want to do. You got to surround yourself with champions. You got to feel it. That's why I love being out there. I see what that workout looks like. I feel it. It's more than seeing it. I feel it, you know what I mean? And like you said, just surrounding myself with the people that have came into my life, you know what I mean?
Gratitude is powerful. There's no question. There's something, I mean, you guys know me, my obsession is with psychology, the brain-body connection. There's something I don't think we yet understand about what happens when you practice. I use that word very intentionally, when you practice gratitude. When you stop and take the time to feel, to your point, to actually feel gratitude for the things in your life, it is so powerful, and it comes back. And when I say it's powerful, let me define it. It's because I don't mean it in a frou-frou way. I mean, it's powerful in that it creates a neurological pattern in your brain where there's a synchronicity between your sympathetic nervous system and your conscious mind, where suddenly you feel in control of your body. And you feel the alignment of the mind and the body, and it's so fucking incredible. I want to go back to something that you said a minute ago about setting the bar, right? So you are the most beautifully obstinate person I think I've ever met in my life, right? Like,
Thanks.
It's so absurd to me because it makes me check myself. It's so absurd to me that you're born with no legs, and yet you've got the gall to look at the world and say, I'm gonna be one of the fastest people alive. Not, hey, just lower the bar for me a little bit, I'm gonna be one of the fastest people with blades. That's not the statement he's making, right? So there is but one path to success, I promise you. One, that's to set the bar ridiculously high and then surpass all expectations. That's it, right? That is it. You are such a powerful living embodiment. The next time I wake up tired, I'm gonna stub my toe on something as a reminder. Look, motherfucker, you got some legs.
You got legs,
it should feel really good right about now. So, dude, honestly, that is amazing. So here's my question. What do you do when one of two things happens?
Okay.
You either wake up tomorrow paralyzed from the neck down,
right,
or you get a gold medal in every event that you enter.
Man, either way, I'm alive.
Truth.
Right? Either way, I'm alive. Either way, each scenario is gonna come with problems, and either way, each scenario is gonna come with a level of gratitude. That's when you just have to accept it. Accepting life on life's terms is a huge part that I'm learning as I'm growing up.
But you mean that with a caveat, because I totally get the intent of what you're saying.
Right.
You're not fighting, you're not worried about being fair, you're not whining about not having legs.
Right.
But at the same time, you're working with, dude, read up on what he does to create his running blades. Okay, they look at the polymer that you put on the outside that has less wind resistance, and so it makes it easier for him to move. They know that because he doesn't have calf muscles, he can't push off the block, so they have to compensate for that. How to place the angle. At first they gave him 2 right feet, which is actually really hard to run around corners, which nobody thought about, right? Like, there's so much fucking intention that goes into it, because here's the horrifically aggressive vision that I have in my head. That you have nature backed against the wall, one hand firmly on the lapel, holding nature against the wall, letting them know that, look, it's going to be my way, and that's just how it's going to be. And I love that. I love that you don't go quietly into the night, that you absolutely fucking take a stand for what you want. You do whatever it takes to get there.
Right. And you know, I feel like that's why we're here, right? That's why it's all about, what do you stand for? What do you believe in? You know, when my career is done and I'm not of this world, I want people to think back and look and say, damn, he was a fighter. He fought. That's it. He was a fighter. He didn't give up, right? Not, you know, how many world records I had or not how many medals I had. That's cool. That's great. But I want people to just laugh, smile, and shake their head in disbelief on how much I fought in my life. And regardless of how many no's that I hear, and I heard a lot, I'm gonna hear more, right? As many as I hear that, you just need to hear a few yeses. And I hear that yes every day that I wake up in myself, and I hear that yes when I meet people like you, right? And I have the same mindset and the same vision, you know what I mean? We're aligned in the same path. Everything happens, you know what I mean? I just feel like it's just who I am. That's how I'm structured. I couldn't, and if I didn't live this life the way I live it, it'll kill me. If I have to sit on the couch every day and just wonder what's gonna happen out there in the world, you know what I mean? I wonder what I could do if I had the opportunity to. That would irk me, man. That would irk me. I have to get out there and try it. I have to get out there and do it, whether I succeed or whether I failed. I know I can walk away and say I gave it my all. And that's the greatest feeling in the world. God, that's the greatest feeling in the world.
Yeah. It's absolutely incredible. You have a mindset that I share so completely. And of all the things that have surprised me in my life have been that some people hear, and I'll explain what you said in a minute, which is exactly the words that I would use, but that I've been met with anger over, which took me by surprise. So here's something that I read from you.
Okay.
What I said earlier, I don't work this hard to be third or second. I want to be first. And every day I wake up and I want more, and I want to push farther. And no matter how high I go, no matter how much I accomplish, I want more. And that's the very point, end quote, Blake Leeper.
Yes.
And dude, that like made the hair on the back of my neck stand up, that like gave me the chills, and I was like, fuck yes.
Yes.
Right? Like that is so motivating to me, is one of the driving forces in my life. So my partners and I, we had a choice.
Right.
A little over a year ago, we were offered over $1 billion for the company.
Okay.
Just here's a whole lot of money. Ooh. I could have bought an island, retired, and that would have been that.
Yeah.
But the value system that drives me made that like not even a consideration. Because the value system that drives me is I want to know how far can I go. That's it, right? I'm not saying everyone around me needs to think the same way. I get it, right? It takes all types of people. But for me, the very point is to see how far I can push myself. To answer the question that you're saying, to say, at the end of my life, the amount of medals that I've won don't matter. For me, the amount of money I've made is totally irrelevant.
Right.
I just want to say every day, I fucking fought today. Yeah. Today I pushed. Today I went harder than I thought I could. Today I increased the skill set. I'm actually able to do something today that I couldn't do yesterday. Yeah. Why? Because I applied my discipline, my willpower to acquiring that skill, and I didn't stop. And when people told me no, either because of my physicality, my mentality, like I'm not smart enough to accomplish what I've accomplished in life. But oh, Blake, the things that I've done to compensate for that, like you find a fucking way. Like there is a path. And when I hear you talk, it is the siren song of the successful.
Yeah.
And the reason that I ask what you'll do beyond the physical is the one potential trap waiting for me, for you, for anybody, is that one narrow band of thing that you've totally committed yourself, like you've committed yourself to running, right? Yeah. The passion, aiming at the Olympics.
Yeah.
But the question becomes, what happens if that goes away? Like you can't do that. The Olympics cease to exist.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
Are people able to channel that passion, that drive, that belief that they can do anything they set their mind to? Can they point it at something else?
Yeah.
And when you're able to point that at something else and still live a fulfilling life that's as passionate and fucking inspiring as what you're doing in running,
that's going to be huge.
Then it's
going to be, and the path that I'm taking, you know, I'm all channeled in for the Olympics, but I'm gaining so many more tools. I'm gaining so many tools in life. But trying to become an Olympian and trying to become one of the fastest men in the world. And hopefully, you know what I mean, once it's all said and done, I can use the tools. You know, when I first started running, I was a little kid, man. You know, I was just getting started. I never run in front of 80,000 people before. I've never been on an international stage before. I've never even traveled before, right? I never even left the country. I never left Tennessee, right? Before I started running, my first time in California was because of running, right? Like, I was just this little country boy from Tennessee, right? Eating ribs and and collard greens, right? And because I wanted to become a runner born without legs has allowed me to see the world. Has allowed me to be on a show like this. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm gaining tools in life. And so when I'm done running, I will be able to look back and say, man, I learned this about myself. I learned that about myself. Right? And I think that's the great part of giving it your all, so you can figure out what you're good at and what you're bad at and what you can do and what you can't do. And when you find out what you can't do, then you try to figure out how you can do it, right? That's the only way, right? But if you're sitting back and complacent and scared and afraid to challenge life and to challenge yourself, it's a scary place to be in. That's a place that I know I don't want to be in. I know you don't want to be in at all.
Very true.
Yeah, man.
We had Russell Simmons on the show not too long ago, and he has a great quote. What you have learned late, teach someone early so that they can be ahead of the curve. That's a paraphrase, but you get the idea. What would you teach to, if you had a child? What are 3 powerful lessons that you'd want to make sure they learn?
Oh, man. One is... it's just gratitude and humility, you know what I mean? That's one thing that's really helped me in my life, and just being thankful for what I have. Don't leave before the miracle happens. 2, be proud of who you are. From top to bottom, be proud. Live it, express it. And the last is never give up. Never, ever give up. The only way you can fail is if you give up. And the only person that can stop you from quitting is you yourself, that person in the mirror. You know what I mean? People can derail your main objective. They can maybe derail, right, your mission. But the only person that can have you stop fighting is that person inside of you. So.
How do you keep fighting? Like when it's really nasty hard?
Yeah.
Do you have a mantra or anything that you say? Or
when it gets bad, right, I first think about the people who sacrificed for me, right, who's worked hard for me, right, my family members, you know, the people in my life now. Like, man, they believed in me, right, so I can't give up on them, right, and then I look back and I think about everything I've been through so far in my life, right. When it gets tough, I'm just like, I can't push no farther, right? It goes back to playing those mind tricks again. You gotta play those mind tricks, just like you playing mind tricks on the track. Gotta have those mind tricks with yourself. Like, man, look at everything you've done. You've made it this far. Why quit now? Why stop now? You've did all this. Why quit now? It's be a waste of time, right? And the last is just being thankful, man. Because I know it could be way worse. It could be way worse. So I'd be selfish to give up. That'd be rude of me disrespectful. That'd be so disrespectful.
To the kids that are watching
To the
you?
kids that are watching me, to the kids who don't have what I have, right? There's kids in other countries who would wish and hope and pray and beg to have legs like these, to have opportunities that I've had. It'd be so disrespectful, man, if I gave up. That'd be rude, right? That'd be so rude, and that's not what I want to be. That's not what I want to stand for. You know, I always think about my legacy and what I want to stand for. And if I'm gonna be the man I want to be, and I feel like I want to be the man that I'm meant to be, I gotta keep fighting.
Who is the man that you're meant to be?
Man, the man I'm meant to be, somebody that changed lives, somebody that changed perspectives, right? I want to be the guy who meets somebody they thought one way their whole life, right? And by a conversation they had with me or an interview they seen with me, their whole mindset is changed, right? When they thought they couldn't do nothing, right, with their lives, so they thought they wasn't good enough, right? Because we always fight that internal demon that you're not good enough, right? When somebody thinks that, hope they can see my story and benefit from it, right? And they say, you know what? If Blake can do it, I sure can do it as well. I'm trying to be the fastest man in the world, and I have no legs. That's a double entendre. I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't. How is that in the same sentence? Step outside the box. Set your own goals. Rise to the occasion. And fight for your dreams, man. That's what I want to stand for. That's who I want to be.
It's a pretty good legacy.
Yeah, man.
Shifting perceptions, that's really interesting. And reading your story, I was very struck by that notion of, here's a kid, people see me, let's say, walk onto a basketball court, and they've heard that, I'm never gonna walk, and here I am walking. They think, well, there's no way that he can run, but here I am running. And they think that there's no way that I can play, and I'm going for MVP. And I thought, there's that pattern of I didn't show up to be on the winning team. I showed up to be on the winning team and get MVP, right? I love that. Talk to me about, so you're a kid, people are making fun of you, you're terrified to show your legs. I know what it's like to be a kid, obviously, right? That's hard.
Yeah.
If people turned on you and were picking on you, that's an emotional death sentence.
Yeah.
So how did you go from that negative spiral to hey, one day finally I'm gonna wear shorts and be proud of exactly who I am?
It was a few things. You know what I mean? I learned, when I was when I was made fun of as a kid. You know what I mean? Sometimes it stung a little bit, right? It would hurt, or I get so awkward and it's so uncomfortable. And to the point I was like, you know what? How about I just make better jokes? You know what I mean? Or how about I just accept and laugh with them, right? And I embraced it. You know what I mean? I remember growing up in elementary school, middle school, I would turn my leg backwards and walk through the hallways, right? Or I would take my legs off and crawl under the teacher's desk and grab her, you know what I mean? I would embrace it. And once I embraced it, it made people around me feel a lot more comfortable, right? I accepted it. I had to come to a realization that wherever I go or whatever I do, I am going to be an amputee. Whoever I see, they're going to look at me twice. Whether I'm in Tennessee, New York, California, I'm going to get the double take. So it goes back to that. Am I going to sit and cry and be upset and be mad about it? Or I'm going to do something about it? And ever since that moment, then I just realized, and I decided I'm gonna push forward. I'm gonna accept the fact that I'm missing my legs. I like getting looked at, right? But as we grow up, we realize that's the worst thing that could ever happen to us, is being just mediocre or being part of the crowd. You want to stand out as an adult so you get everybody's attention, right? I didn't have a choice. I was gonna stand out from the time I left the house as a kid to now. And to be honest, I'm thankful for that, because it allowed me to learn certain things and gain certain tools for me to be the person I am today. So at the end of the day, I'm thankful that I'm missing my legs. I can honestly look at you and say that. I'm thankful that I was born without legs.
My man, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You guys know I have an absolute obsession with excuses and not making them. The only thing that I have seen across every successful person ever, doesn't matter whether they're trying to be the best parent in the world, an NBA superstar, the fastest man alive, successful entrepreneur, they all share one thing. They pathologically refuse to make any excuses. And in doing that, they keep their power, as Blake said earlier. And when you retain your power, when you only look within for the answer to your situation, when you recognize that the only path, because life is unfair, the only path to success is to set the bar ridiculously high and then surpass all expectations. No matter what your limitation, whether it's missing legs, whether it's being from the wrong background, dropping out of college, being overweight, it doesn't matter. Whatever that limitation that you perceive to be something that's holding you back, it's not. The only limitation that you actually have is your mindset. And the reason that Blake is so powerful is that you can see it. It's all external. It is absolutely the most perfect metaphor ever. A man with no legs sets his mind to becoming the fastest man alive. He sets his mind to becoming the fastest man alive. He works with people to create fucking legs. He works with people to actually create legs and to improve them and to make them better. And then, because it's all inspiring, right? But the bad news is inspiration and motivation are absolutely worthless without action. And what is his life? Action. That's it. He shows up on the track every day and he busts his ass. He takes him to the point of vomiting, sweat. He didn't even talk about this, but he'll have to routinely take his legs off because the amount of sweat that he has pouring into the pocket breaks the suction and it doesn't stick to his leg anymore. But does he bitch about that? No. He takes a leg off, he cleans it out, he puts it back on, and he goes again. And who's running next to him? World record holders that have their legs. But he doesn't turn to them for sympathy. He turns to them to be better than he is so that he can rise to their level and one day have them turn to him because he's better than they are. And that's the world that he exists in. He doesn't exist in a world where he's better than people who don't have legs or he's better than people who have blades. He lives in a world where he wants to be number one, where he's willing to push himself to get to that point. He's willing to make the decisions every day to increase his skill set, to become better at something in order to actually accomplish. It's a story of doing. It's a story of action. It's a story of getting up every day and making a choice, of choosing what to believe and what not to believe. He believes the things that move him forward. So if believing that the world is unfair and woe is me had served him, he would have done it, but it didn't. And acknowledging that the world is unfair and merely moving forward, always pushing forward, understanding that it's not about how hard you can hit, it's about how hard you can be hit and keep moving forward. And he moves forward, always. He's made mistakes. He's fucked up. But he keeps moving forward. And I don't sit here as somebody who's blind to the mistakes that he's made. I'm sit here as somebody who doesn't give a shit because he so inspires me by moving forward at all times. I have the chills right now. By moving forward at all times, by not accepting who he is today, but focusing only on who he can become, he's my fucking hero. I can't thank you enough. Thank you.
Really.
Incredible. Absolutely. If you ever want a chance to meet some of the incredible people that come in like Blake, please, first of all, subscribe. It's a weekly show. Reach out to Cindy. Big it up for Cindy. Get a camera on that woman. Cindy's the one that runs the community. She'll make it happen. She will get you here. We will find a way. And Blake, where can they find you?
They can find me at blakeleeper.us. That's my official website. You can follow me on Instagram at Leepster, Leepster. Or you can meet me at the track and do some workouts at UCLA.
Nice.
You can see me on the track, but and hopefully you'll just see me in the future. And just follow my journey. And as much support I can get, just in all the love I can get, I'll take.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we're in this together.
Beautiful.
It's gonna be great.
All right. And guys, you can follow me at @TomBillieu. Until next time, my friends, be legendary. Take care. Blake, my friend.